Dolly finally takes off her wig. Fans weren't prepared. Dolly Parton has proven to be more than just another country artist over the centuries. She takes satisfaction in giving back to the communities by not just supporting organizations, but also starting her own. Parton's compassion, elegance, and honesty sparkle through her cherry-colored cowboy boots, sequin jumpsuit, and light yellow hair. Parton's image will live on as an emblem of vibrant American pop culture. Looking back at images of Dolly Parton as a child, you may not have thought she'd become an American icon. It's not easy to be an icon. That's because most icons must not only be extraordinarily talented at what they do, but also have a strong enough presence to make a lasting impression on media history. To be deserving of reverence, one must be very brilliant, committed, and passionate. You'll understand how she became so kind-hearted and adored the world over as we examine her life via a collection of never-before-seen childhood Dolly Parton images. If you're a Dollywood fan like us, share these beautiful photographs and little-known Dolly facts with your friends. Avie Lee Owens. Avie Lee Owens was born on October 5, 1923, in a tiny hamlet in South Carolina. She spent her childhood singing praises to God with her mother and preacher father. Owens, like her famous daughter, Dolly Parton, comes from a musical family. Her father was a fiddler who created his own music. American country singer Kitty Wells eventually sang one of these, singing his praise. Owens married the love of her life, Robert Lee Parton, in 1939 when she was just 15 years old. Robert Lee Parton. Anyone who knew Robert Lee Parton would tell you he was the definition of dedication. He worked in fields and building sites his whole life to support his family. Every morning, rain or shine, he made his way to work and returned home to loving smiles and open arms. Dolly and Willa Dean, his children, would take turns caressing his weary hands with corn silk lotion and scrubbing his exhausted feet. Bag of oatmeal. Avie and Robert Parton welcomed their fourth child into the world on January 19, 1946, in a modest one-bedroom cabin in Sevier County, Tennessee. Even though Parton worked hard to care for his family, money was still scarce. So much so that following the birth of Dolly Parton, he had to pay the doctor with a bag of oats. Whatever their financial situation, the family always found a way to make ends meet. Even when things were at their worst, the Partons remained steadfast. Cold nights. It's difficult to fathom growing up in a one-bedroom cottage with 11 other siblings. Dolly Parton frequently remembers fondly her modest origins. Every night my kids would pee on me. We slept in beds 3 and 4. It was the only thing that kept us warm in the cold. Because it was so cold, it was almost a pleasure to get peed on, Parton remarked in 1978 interview with Playboy magazine. Sewing her toes back on. Parton's toes were almost severed when she was just 6 years old. She fell on a shattered mason jar while leaping over a fence. When her father picked her up off the ground, the tiny toes on her right foot were almost severed. Her quick-thinking mother applied cornmeal to her toes to absorb the blood. Her father then cleaned her foot with kerosene to make it sterile. Her mother successfully reattached her toes using the same needles she used to create their quilts. Ouch is a word that comes to mind. Growing up self-sufficient. The Partons were photographed against the stunning backdrop of Tennessee's Smoky Mountains. They made the most of their nutritious terrain. Parton learned to be self-sufficient and live off the land from her mother. They reared chickens and gathered local produce. The family also grew turnips, beans, maize, and potatoes. For meat, her father hunted bears, turtles, rabbits, squirrels, and groundhogs. They merely needed coffee and sugar from the shop. Little tiny tassel top. Parton spoke and sang about anything and everything before she could read or write. Her father created her a little doll with a corncob body and hair made from corn silk. That afternoon, Parton sat on her front porch with her new toy and started singing her debut song, Little Tiny Tassel Top. Her mother took note of her daughter's lyrics because she thought they were exceptionally well written for a 5-year-old. Is this the beginning of something special? A dark cloud. In July 1955, a gloomy cloud hovered over the Parton family. Larry died 4 days after his birth, leaving everyone in mourning. In an interview with E! News, Parton muses on the tragedy. "When we were born, my mother would always say, 'This one's going to be your baby.' That just meant you had to take extra care of it. You had to get up in the middle of the night and rock it back and forth. The baby who died was my baby," Parton said. The Parton family situation only worsened. Coat of many colors. Temperatures in the Smoky Mountains may easily fall below 20 degrees during a regular winter. Staying warm in the winter was difficult for the Parton family, who had straw mattresses and clothing cobbled together from scraps. However, it was one of her mother's bright jackets that inspired her to create one of her favorite songs. Coat of Many Colors is more than a song. It's a love letter to Parton's family and upbringing. Singing debut. Parton acquired her first guitar from her uncle Bill when she was 10 years old. Soon after, she began making music and composing her own songs. Parton didn't have to wait long to start performing at her local radio station in Knoxville. Her attractive attitude and lovely voice helped her rise to prominence in her community. She was appearing on Knoxville TV at the age of 12, and the next year she was recording her song with a little label firm. Making a name for herself. Parton took a leap of faith only one day after graduating from high school to pursue her ambitions of becoming a country singer. She relocated from her childhood home in Sevier County to Nashville, Tennessee in 1964. Parton, who was just 18 years old at the time, was eager to make things work in her new circumstances. Fortunately, it would only take her 1 year to sign with Monument Records as a pop performer. Laundromat romance. Parton got a job at Cooser's Diner after making the major move to Nashville. On weekends, she went to Wishy Washy, a neighborhood laundromat, to wash her laundry. On that fateful day, when Parton was folding her clothes at the table, she met eyes with a guy. They had no idea at the time that this was the start of a relationship that would lead to marriage. They both eventually confessed that it was love at first sight. "My first thought after seeing Dolly for the first time was that I wanted to marry her," Carl Dean said. "Hello, I'm Dolly." Singing with Monument Records as a pop singer didn't seem like the right match for Parton. Her heart was clearly connected to country music. It's no wonder that her first track, Dumb Blonde, became a country smash. Despite the fact that she didn't write the song, it became immensely famous and peaked at number 24 on the charts. Hello, I'm Dolly, her debut solo album, was released on September 18, 1967. It would be her only album with Monument Records. Dreams of her own. Parton began working with Porter Wagoner, an American country singer, when she was just 21 years old. The dynamic team won several honors together, propelling both of their careers to new heights. Parton helped rejuvenate my father's career, Deborah Wagoner, Wagner's daughter, remarked. Parton, on the other hand, understood that she was meant to be a solo artist. After 7 years of collaboration, Parton composed I Will Always Love You for Wagoner as a farewell to their collaboration. Off her wig. Country music diva Dolly Parton opted to unveil her real self, eventually removing her famous wig during a special live performance, leaving audiences both awed and deeply affected. The crowd was taken aback when the wig came off, showing her real hair. But the sincerity of the gesture was very moving. Parton's sensitivity and honesty struck a chord with her fans, delivering a strong message about self-acceptance and accepting one's true self. Her choice to share this private moment on stage was a watershed moment in her renowned career, leaving an unforgettable imprint on those who saw it and a monument to her continuing appeal and connection with her dedicated fans.